Hi, I'm Patricia White. I'm 52 years of age. I'm from Somers, New York, but right now I'm in Candlewood Lake Club, Connecticut on my back porch because this is where I live during the summertime. When I saw that list of shows and they asked me which one was your favorite, I immediately gravitated to The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Why? Because the moment I watched the pilot episode, I was completely hooked and I could not stop watching. Why do I love it? Because of the colors. Last night I went out to dinner with my girlfriend. We were talking about the show and she said the colors. I'm like, yes, the colors. Oh my God. Midge's brown hair and her blue eyes and her red lipstick and her nail polish and her pocketbook and her hat and her scarf and her accessories and her dresses and all of the dresses. I'm in love with the colors. And they're just so brilliant and beautiful, and I've never seen anything like it. And I love when Midge is wearing something absolutely pink and, she's standing there on the street and everything, the gray buildings behind her, the gray sidewalks, the gray street, and then you see all the pops of color, and it's just, the color in itself becomes a character. So, which kind of brings me into the lighting. Now, some people might say lighting, like who cares about lighting? I have a very deep appreciation for production, and I love how the gaslight looks kind of like gloomy and moody. Then you juxtapose that to the USO with these really bright costumes and these, gorgeous colors, and then all of the khaki out in the audience. And then you go to Vegas and the blue swimming pool with those beautiful synchronized swimmers with their pink bathing suits and white caps, and they were just breathtaking, I applaud the entire crew. I mean, everything. The locations are also characters in themselves. When you walk around the Catskills, you are definitely feeling that Catskill feel. Or when you're in Midge's apartment, the Pyrex, for goodness sakes, the couch, Abe's den, I'm just, everywhere I go, I'm taken there, genuinely taken there. Now, it's interesting because I always think about whether or not the office, Joel's original office, was the same office from Mad Men. I don't know, just got a feeling. I know a lot of it's filmed at Steiner Studios, but I don't know if that was the same location. I'm just curious if it is. Anyhow, so what was my, favorite scene? My favorite scene was kind of a plain scene. It wouldn't necessarily stand out to some people, but it was the switchboard scene at Bjaltman's. And I remember there was a mail clerk, and he was pushing the big cart of mail, and he made a turn, and then the camera panned and followed into two rows of women at the switchboards at Bjaltman's, and they're saying, Bjaltman's, how may I direct a call? Bjaltman's, how may I direct a call? And I just remember thinking, wow, that's a lot of lights. Those are a lot of switches. And these women made a very tedious, repetitious task that was difficult look pretty darn easy. And then you've got Midge coming in there, and she's swooping down on her chair, and she's patting the back of someone else, telling the woman to breathe and offering her assistance. And that's just like Midge, it's Midge. She is brilliant. She is funny. She is smart. She is hardworking, and she's just this dynamo, this ball of energy. She never gives up, and I love Midge for that. Which kind of brings me into the acting in general. Other than Midge, my two favorite characters are definitely Joel. Now, I hated Joel at the beginning because I hated him for cheating. I hated him for leaving her. But when they spoke on the phone and he said to her, you can't come back to me and be a comedian, he was willing to make a sacrifice because he loved her that much. And that's something you have to respect in a relationship. And then when he shows up at the divorce in court to give her moral support, all was forgiven. And I think I admire Susie Meyerson. Some people might think, well, Susie's just kind of tough. She's tough. There's not a lot of dimension there. Au contraire. She probably has the toughest gig of all. She does come off as tough and acerbic and so on and so forth. But 2 times I saw the real Susie Meyerson. The first time was in the deli when she starts to cry and she says, "There's water coming down my face." So here she is really feeling these emotions and then suppressing them, trying to deny them. Then when we get her in Rose and Abe's apartment and she's reading Charlotte's Web, crying, and then playing the piano so beautifully. Obviously this is before she gets high, but it doesn't matter. That was the real Susie, and I had so much respect and admiration for the actress to be able to, I bow to her. The range she has is amazing. And the acting, I mean, there's not a scene that isn't perfection. Not one single scene between any sets of characters has a flaw. Not one. And the writing is flippin' brilliant. You're taken on this roller coaster ride, and then all of the sub-stories and how they all intertwine, and then the editing. One of my favorite edits was the scene where Midge is telling her father about when Joel came to, say he's sorry and he wants her back. And they're cutting from inside where Abe is talking to Midge, and she's trying to say daddy, because, and then they transfer back to the street. And she turns to Joel and says, "Because you left." And I loved her strength there, which kind of is going to transfer me into why I love the show in general. I truly believe that Midge is a metaphor for everyone, not just women in the 50s and 60s who are saying, it was like she said in one of her sets, why do women have to pretend to be happy? Why do women have to be married and have a bunch of kids? She says, what if? What if? What if we decide to be comedians? What if we decide to go to Paris and study culture and language and art? What if we decide we don't want to have children, we want to have a career? What if? And she opens up that possibility for everyone. And the metaphor extends way beyond her. We look at someone like Shai. And Shai, he wasn't just, a black man. He was a gay black man. And we have to say, wow, people are struggling everywhere. And yet, they all rise to the challenges. They all have to overcome these obstacles. And they all, in some way, grow. They grow as people. They grow as characters. And what's not to love about anything about the marvelous Mrs. Maisel? That's it for me. I'm Patricia White. Thank you and good night.